Hello, and welcome to another episode of the She podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. And do I have a phenomenal episode for you today because I am joined by an incredible woman who has been through quite a journey herself, and she's going to share her story with you today. And she is extremely inspirational. So make sure you stay with us through this whole episode so you can learn more about her as well as learn how to connect with her. So hi, Cari. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you for having me. That was such an introduction. I'm blushing, so thank you.
Absolutely. I've done my research, and you are an incredible woman, and what you've been through is truly inspiring. And I'm really excited to dive in and share you and your story with our listeners. Before I do so, though, I'm going to share just a little bit of information about you, and then we'll dive right in. So, Cari Schmidt is a fitness instructor, health coach, independent hairstylist, and ice cream enthusiast. Ooh, we got to find out what her favorite flavor is. Her mission is to simplify self-care and eradicate shame and self-doubt through the power of self-love and self-acceptance. She likes to spend her free time feeling good and is inspired by lifestyle leaders such as Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of my favorites, Esther Hicks, ooh, another one, Eckhart Tolle, and Louise Hay, to name a few. She truly believes self-love will save the world. So, Cari, I asked this of many of my guests to start off the session. So many entrepreneurs I speak with have walked through a journey themselves of how, and now they're helping others in the world through their business. Is this your journey as well? Did you move through a transformation yourself, and now you've created a business around that?
I truly did. It's been quite the journey. I don't know where to begin, honestly, but to kind of just sum it up, now that I am who I am, I kind of realized I was kind of self-loathing and self-hating, like very subconsciously and unconsciously, but little backstory, like had a great childhood. Parents are divorced, like, but they got along, nothing too crazy. High school was good, loved middle school. In college, I really just kind of lost myself and fell apart. Freshman year was great. I was on dean's list and such. And then after that, I just really didn't know I was there. And so that slowly snowballed into some addiction. There's lots of drinking, and specifically, I struggled really heavily with the eating disorder and just all the things I could stuff, my feelings, my pain, my loneliness, basically. And so I've actually gotten 2 DUIs in my life, one when I was 18 and then one again when I was 25, I think. So I've been to jail a couple times, which is not a place I recommend for anybody who hasn't been yet. But those were kind of my breaking points. And again, they happened at 2 very, very different times. And looking back, I think, the first one at 18 was kind of a sign like, hey, you don't have to go to college. Like, you don't have to do this. But I didn't see it that way at the time, of course. But the second one really, really hit home. I was a bartender at the time and just living a hard, fast life and having fun, I thought, but not connected to source or any sort of God or anything like that. Just kind of going through the motions and wasn't truly happy. So all of that really to say is it led me back home. Luckily, I have a great family and they love me when I couldn't really love myself. And so moved back in with mom and stepdad at 25, which nobody really wants to do, but they took care of me. And that's when I became a hairstylist. It was like, I know I don't want to work at a bar the whole time or the rest of my life. I don't want to live this life anymore, but what can I do? What kind of qualities do I have? Which again, I didn't really know at the time. And so I knew I had the people skills. I knew that I wanted to work on my feet. And so there was a cosmetology school down the street. And luckily, my parents let me live there rent free and just really dive in and commit fully to cosmetology school without having to divide my focus, because I don't do that too well either. and yeah, the rest is kind of history. Luckily, I was okay at hair, and the connection really is what it's been about for me. So I've just, wherever I go, I like to be of service. So that was back, yeah, in 2016. And then just about, I'm trying to think of when I started my, oh, well, I became a jazzercise instructor, to piggyback on this story, if you don't mind. I became a jazzercise instructor in college.
Mm.
And in hindsight, that's when things fell apart. Like in my heart, I knew like teaching and fitness were my passions and goals, but everybody was like, you can't make money, you can't do this, that sort of deal. So I really took what other people said to heart at the time. And so bringing it back to now, I have been a jazzercise instructor for 13 years, and it's always kind of been in the background, but I really got serious about what I liked about hairstyling and how I wanted to grow and where I wanted my career to go. And then I slowly started incorporating more personal training. And about 3 years ago, decided I wanted to do health coaching. And then I became the self-care bear online and started my podcast. And I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it's absolutely. And I thank you for sharing that, because you reminded me so much of like, I resonate so much with you, because now that you've
Yeah.
shared all of that, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's kind of was my path too, in a similar way through college. And I went to college for a long time. I didn't do the 4-year plan. I did more of the 7-year plan.
Right
I
on.
transferred schools. I took some time off. I was a bartender. I changed. I got the sun coming in. I apologize.
No, I like it.
Thank you. It's sunny here in Florida, which is beautiful, but
Glowing.
during
Yeah.
recording, yeah, it comes in. And it's interesting how you shared, the detour that you took. And unfortunately for many of us, that detour comes in not a so positive a way of
Yeah.
showing itself to, right? So for
Yeah.
me, for example, and I had an eating disorder. I competed in bodybuilding and figure, and I didn't
Oh,
have a
wow.
plan afterward. And so I went from addiction into exercising and being strict with that and having a goal to now, okay, well, I don't have anything to control, but I can control this.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how I turned to the eating disorder. So
Mhm.
I wanted to touch on that because it's interesting. I never thought the detour and I want to call it derailment, but it's really not. It's just our path of getting on track, and it looks
Yeah.
different for everyone. So
Mhm.
how would you like, for me now, I'm just thinking about our listeners. If you're going down a path that you know is not right, then that's like
Mhm.
a wake up call and in a sign to say, hey, maybe you're not following your passion, right? I did the same
Yeah.
thing. I followed
Yeah.
what my parents thought I should do, not my
Mhm.
passion. And I took their advice on how to get through school and do that. And it actually ended
Mhm.
up making me very unhappy, and me trying to
Yeah.
find other avenues. And I drank in college too, and those things. And I needed time to take off in order to get my focus back. And even after I graduated, I still wasn't
Mhm.
on the path of things that I love to do. But again, like you said, that's not going to make you money if you do what you really like to do, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
did health and
Yeah.
wellness and personal trainer, and it didn't bring me the money that I
Mhm.
really wanted, but at the time I really liked it. And so I
Yeah.
applaud you for, stepping into your passion and going after
Thank
it,
you.
and finding your way back to it, even though it's part of, maybe it was a hard process, but now it's
Yeah.
your story that you get to share and inspire so many other people in the process. So I just think it's
I
beautiful. And I
appreciate
love
that.
how
Yeah.
open and vulnerable you are about it
Well,
too.
thank you. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. I really, all I can say is that has just, like, I'm getting the goosebumps as you talk, because like I just know I'm in the right place. And all I can really say is that, like, as I learn to love myself more, like, that is what I truly believe life is about. And when you do that, and even if you're in a hard place, or even if you, yeah, aren't living the way you want to live, like, I don't know, during the holidays, like recently, just for example, like, I was doing more drinking than I kind of really have lately. And I was, we eat a little bit more than we want to. And like internally, like in a place where you might not even know you're saying it, like, how are you speaking to yourself? You know what I mean? And And when I just flip that switch and just like, no, you know what? I'm going to love and accept myself no matter what. Like, I'm going to be open. I'm going to talk about my DUIs because they're in the past, and I made it here. Like, I'm alive. I'm so grateful to be alive. Like, am I proud of them? No, but that doesn't mean I need to hate myself forever, because where did that get me? That got me, shoving myself with more food or more Netflix or more boys or whatever the case may be. And it's like, we're done with that. Like, we're done with that. This is the move, when you just can just embrace all of your sides, the dark parts, the light parts, and it sounds crazy, but when you just slowly, it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I still hate myself some days, but like when you notice and then you just flip that switch and you're like, maybe you don't love yourself right away, but it's okay. You're okay. You're not a bad person. Like, no matter the mistakes you made, like, you slowly start believing yourself, and then you slowly start trusting yourself. And then you aren't making mistakes, or not the grand mistakes, like, that do make, I guess, a bad person or whatever you might think you are. You want to be more honest. You want to show up in your relationships and love everybody. You don't want to, cheat on people or stab people in the back. Like, it's all interconnected. And it's really just, yeah, changed my whole world and changed all of my relationships with food, with family, with, strangers. And it just feels, yeah, I just want to let everybody know that it's the move. Love is the only answer.
Yeah. And I like that you like give yourself grace. That's so
Oh,
important,
yeah,
because
for
at the end of the
sure.
day, we are human. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. No.
Plus, perfect's boring. People don't like perfect. They can't resonate or connect with you if they feel like you're perfect, or you put this facade. If everybody's showing up perfect, and I did it, I'm a recovering perfectionist. It's a facade.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
us
yeah.
trying to like let everybody know that we have it all together, when in reality, when I see somebody like that, I now know, because that was me.
Yeah.
I now know, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you've got a lot going on behind the scenes. How can I
Mm-hmm.
support you? Because if you're trying to show up like it's all together, chances are, not chances are, I know it's not
Yeah.
all together. And you need
Yeah.
support and help and love, especially if it's a woman. They need more women on their side. Like, we're here to
Oh,
support each
yeah.
other and raise each other up. So
I love that.
I really like that you shared, like, give yourself grace, and it's one step in front of the other. And as
Mm-hmm.
humans, we're growing and evolving until the day we die. So we're always looking to do better, and we're going to fall backwards a little bit. That's just life. Life happens. And
Yeah.
we just get to pick ourselves up and keep moving forward. You had support. You had a really loving family that opened their arms. Not everybody has that. So, and you are
No,
in the health and
no.
wellness space. And when it comes
Mhm.
to, helping people, we, the go-to when we want to get healthy is because we want to look good on the
Mhm.
outside. We never think
Yeah.
about, oh, well, we need to do the work on the inside, but that's really
Hmm.
what people like you do.
Yeah.
Yes, they come to you for the outside, but there's
Mhm.
deeper work to be done, because we
Yeah.
can get this where we want it, but then we're never going to be happy if we haven't done the work on the inside. So, and you had that support to give you the space and the grace to be able to go after your passion, right? And
Mhm.
also do the work that you needed to do internally in order to get to
Yeah.
where you are now. So what would you say to people that don't have that support? What is a step they could take, or something they could do to help them move forward into stepping into that, starting to or release that self-loathing and
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
into self-loving?
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, just to touch again, I'm so grateful that I had all that support. If you do not, reach out and find it. I know that's not people's first instinct, because if you're anything like me, you're just locking yourself in your room by yourself. But now we all have phones, we have Heidi, we have podcasts, we have social media. So I would get really honest about the content that you're following first and foremost, and where you're giving your energy to. If you're feeling terrible when you're on the phone or you're scrolling through social media, depending on how long you do it, it can just make you feel kind of wonky anyways. But if you're just following people who are not making you feel good, not uplifting you, then that's a good place to start. Try following some health coaches, some lifestyle leaders, some empowering women, people that really just make you smile, have little bits of information that maybe you can take from, and then try to really get out in your community in real life. That can be hard, but I love jazzercise. I suggest maybe trying a group workout if you're feeling brave enough. or if you're looking for something more intimate, a health coach, a life coach, personal trainer, anybody who's just there that's going to root you on. Because once you take that one step, like it's if you stick with it and you can find some sort of consistency, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, you're going to notice the shift. You're going to notice how you feel. And so, yeah, just community, like join some groups, there's so many free options. I started recently going to the library, and even the library has like all these cool meetings. And if you like art, get out and do some art. Just don't shut yourself away if you can help it. And if you're in a really dark place and you do need to shut yourself away, again, the internet can be so wonderful if you just really reach out and find something you're interested in, whether it be working out or cooking or, positive messages. Like everybody's out here. We're out here for you. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to start.
That's so good. You mentioned so many things. The library, I love that idea. I didn't even think of that. The
Right?
library is great when
Yeah.
it's so quiet and peaceful, and just it
Nice.
really can bring you into a peaceful place. And
Yeah.
there, like you said, there's so many free workshops and things always happening
Mhm.
at the library. Like, and that's
Yeah.
what I love the most about it. It's free.
Right.
Free. You
Yeah.
don't even have to
Yeah.
check
You
out a
can,
book. Like you can
no,
just go
yeah,
and
right.
read and have a quiet place and put the book
Mm-hmm.
back if you're done, or you can check it out. And find those things that you really love. And movement you mentioned too, which I
Yeah.
truly believe is key, because we can, when we're in a funk, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can get into a depression, and then it gets really hard to move. And
Oh,
just
yes.
even getting
Mm-hmm.
outside, and I don't know where I'm in Florida, so I'm blessed in that aspect that I can just like
Yeah.
after we're finished here, I'm going to go walk.
Yeah.
But not
Nice.
everybody has that, because people are
Yeah.
living it's winter right now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but finding a
Yeah.
place that you can get some movement, whether it's, and there,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, there's so many free options. You can turn on YouTube and do a quick little workout. You don't even have to pay
Yeah.
for it. Like go to a
You
gym.
don't even
So if
have
you're
to.
in the
Yeah.
cold, but it's just a matter of just taking that initiative. And even if it's 5 minutes of movement, that five
Yeah.
minutes will start to turn into 10 minutes. That 10 minutes will start to
Mm-hmm.
turn into 15 or 20 minutes. And there you go. Now you're in a routine of exercising and getting those endorphins running, moving, and feeling
Yeah.
good about yourself, because your body's going to
Mm-hmm.
start changing. You're going to start automatically. I know for me, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm exercising, I'm eating better, because now I'm
All the
like,
things.
well, if I'm going to make this effort and do this work, well, then I want to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm feeding it properly, right? You
Of
want to eat
course.
less
Yeah.
cakes
Yeah. Right.
and cookies.
It's a whole thing,
Yeah. So I love that you mentioned the movement, and community is really important
Mm-hmm.
and can be scary at the same time,
Oh, so
especially
scary.
when
Yeah.
if we don't have support with our immediate
Mm-hmm.
people in our life, then even
Yeah.
reaching out to community can be even scarier, especially if you're an introvert
Mm-hmm.
like me. But it's an
Yeah.
important step. And now you
Mm-hmm.
all know Cari, so you have
Yeah.
someone you can reach out to who has an open arm, and she'll wrap her arms around you with love
No
and
judgment.
no
No judgment
judgment,
here.
judgment
Not a
free
little
zone.
bit. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if community group scares you, then reach out to
Yeah.
Cari, because
I love
her
that.
like she's already been through it all, and come through the other side in with shining her light in the world, which is so inspiring. So yeah, if you have any fear with that, just reach out to Cari for sure. So Cari, can you tell us about your podcast so they can listen to you and get to know
Yeah.
more there as well?
Yeah, I would love that. So, I mean, it's like I love your message. It's so on point. And I would say mine is kind of similar. Like I just want you to feel like you're not alone. Like you are not alone. Like we might not have been through the same exact thing, but I can promise you we have felt the same emotions, my friend. And I just want you to know, however bad or ugly it gets, like I'm here for you. So it's basically just self-love. Like my little tagline it all begins within. So give yourself a hug and take care, because the more I work on my inside, the more the outside glows, like you said, and just everything falls into line, and it just feels really freaking good. So I just want to share that with everybody. So it's anything self-care wise. Like I did an episode recently on like how to recover from sickness, and like my things mostly like natural and homeopathic remedies. try to keep it natural. I try to keep it real. And another episode is like how to like get out of a bad mood or something like that. You know what I mean? It's anything from physical health, external health, emotional health, mental health, any kind of health and wellness that you can find. Lots on movement because, like you said, it is just hands down the one thing that I think saved my life. Like if I hadn't had jazzercise, I mean, I never had suicidal thoughts, but I did have thoughts where I was like, I could not be here right now. You know what I mean? Like I never actually wanted to kill myself, but I was like, I wouldn't be really mad if I wasn't here. So anyways, the movement, like you said, and it can be hard and it can be so scary. I mean, I've spent more days in my bed in the dark than you can even imagine, but once you just take that little baby step. So yeah, my podcast is just self-love, self-awareness, learning yourself, learning to befriend yourself. The Self-Care Bear Club. Everybody's
I was
welcome.
gonna say, what's the name of it?
The Self-Care Bear Club. Yes, the Self-Care Bear Club. Everybody is welcome there.
Amazing. I love that. And I love that how you shared about this. You said something at the beginning of it, and it'll come to me.
Yeah.
To replay it. But the way you said it was just so beautiful and I love that you're doing this and sharing this on a platform such as a podcast.
Yeah.
So you can share your journey and your story and help more women and more people move through their process. So I have a lot of female entrepreneurs listening to this. So I want to ask you some questions about your business specifically.
Yeah.
So moving now, once you've moved through this, now you're a hairstylist, right?
Yeah.
You also have your health and wellness business and your podcast. So what was one of the biggest challenges when you were starting your business that you faced, and how did you overcome it?
That's a great question. For me, it's always been like the imposter syndrome, right? Like even when people call me a business owner, like my parents do it all the time and they're so proud, like in my head, like there's not even really a voice anymore that says, no, you're not. It's just like, it's more like, oh, they're talking about you. Like, I don't know if that can resonate with anybody, but I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I am. Like, I'm just out here doing my thing. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I do. Like, I guess that's, that's what I am. So even like when I tried to transition from hairstyling to health and wellness, which again, I've always been a jazzercise instructor, an athlete and stuff like that. It's like, I am that to my core, but for some reason making that switch and trying to, just talk about it, even like promote myself and like shamelessly, you know what I mean? What you have to do when you're, your own business owner. It's like, well, what makes you think like, you know what I mean? What makes you think you can tell people like about health and wellness? And it's like, it's always that little imposter syndrome that's like, you have to take a step and be like, no, I know this. Like I live this, like you said, I am this. And at the end of the day, this is what makes my heart sing. So it's going to reach the right people. It's going to connect me with wonderful people like you. Like it's gonna be okay. And it might not bring in all the money or all this or all that all at once, but eventually it will if you're following what makes you happy is what I think. So imposter syndrome is definitely the hardest thing that I had to overcome. And then just the fact that also right now, I'm really into doing things alone. So I can resonate when you said community is very scary. I really agree with that. But the more that I love myself, the more I realize that I just want to, again, reach out to people and like, we don't have to be the same. We don't have to go through the same things, but we all kind of do, So right now I'm in the phase of reaching out and trying to meet more people like you and realizing that like, while yes, it is my business, you don't have to do it alone. And you probably shouldn't, well, I don't like that word, but you know what I mean? Like there's people out here and it feels good to connect and build each other up like you do.
Yeah, absolutely. We're better together. And business is hard, right? It is hard. Building a business is hard. But it doesn't have to, it can be simple, and you can simplify it by growing your network, and your net worth is tied to your network. I know it's cliche and we've all heard it.
I love that.
Is your network, but your net worth is your network. So if you don't know, if you're not happy with your net worth, look at your network. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
an introvert. So reaching out to people, connecting, it's super scary for me,
Yeah.
but it's what's going to help. And you get to leverage other people's audiences, like Cari being on here. She gets to get in front of my audience, and
Yeah.
me connecting with other people gets to get me in front of their audiences, and we're
So
collaborating,
great.
and collaboration
Yeah.
is the new currency. So it's a
Yeah.
must to be collaborating and networking inside. You must have that as part of your marketing plan
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
of your business, because you can lone wolf this, but it's gonna 90% of businesses
Mm-hmm.
fail. And if you're
Yeah.
lone wolfing it, you're most likely going to be in that 90%. Whereas if you're
Mm-hmm.
networking and you're collaborating, you are more likely to be on the other side of that and successful. And because you're going to have a community of people to reach out to also when those
Mm-hmm.
days get hard, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
having a rough day, I could
Yeah.
say, hey, Cari, how's it going?
Yeah.
And
Holler
I
at
can
me.
yeah, I can reach out to her for support, or I can actually
Mhm.
lean into serving you. How can I support you today? Because if I'm
I love
going
that.
through a stink over here with something,
Yeah.
if I'm focused outwardly with serving, I can't stay
Mm-hmm.
stuck in my mess, right? Because now you're
Amen.
focusing on serving and good. And I love that you said that, this makes your heart sing. Like, you don't even consider
Yeah.
yourself, well, it's really important we consider ourselves business
Yeah.
owners because
Yeah.
we have a
Yeah.
business to run. But I love that you don't also on the
Yeah.
flip side of that, because your parents are like, no, but you are. And you're
You
like,
are.
this is just what I love to do,
Yeah.
and that's what most people that don't have, they don't have that passion that lights them up every day, that they
Mhm.
are leaning into serving. And you're so focused on serving, you said at the beginning,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
supporting and serving people and helping them get through whatever they're moving through and transform their lives in the way that, and get the result they want to get, that you're like,
Yeah.
well, this is just, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
this is just what I do every day and how I show up. And so, yeah, I think that's really a key point to touch on, or to come back to, recircle to, because
Yeah.
if you are listening and you're feeling stuck and you're feeling
Mhm.
like you're running a business and it's not lighting you up, then you get to take a step back and go, okay, why isn't it lighting me up? Am I taking on too much? Right? Am I
Mhm.
overwhelmed? Am I taking on too much? Can I simplify this? Or is this really not what I really want to be doing? But I'm doing it
Mhm.
because I feel like I'm supposed to be, right? Or
Mhm.
you don't want to let
Mhm.
someone else down, so you're sticking with it. So
Yeah.
I love that you talked into that. So we talked about your podcast,
Yeah.
we talked about your
Yeah.
biggest challenge, which was the imposter syndrome, which I know a lot of people listening have had. I've had it. Who am I to
Right.
be doing this? Who is she to be
Yeah.
doing this? And you mentioned, like, people can think of, like, well, who is she to help people do this?
Yeah.
But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, none of them are really thinking that.
No.
They're not.
No.
We're putting so much emphasis and
Yeah.
in our time into worry what other people are thinking, and they're dealing with their own
Mhm.
stuff. And most of
Yeah.
the time they're looking at you, Cari, going, you
Yeah.
go, woman.
Yeah.
So proud of you. And I wish I could be out
Yeah.
there sharing like you're sharing and lighting it up like you're lighting it up. So
I
if you feel it,
appreciate that.
yeah, if you're feeling that way and you're listening, and nobody's worried about you as much as you think
No,
they're worried about you. They're
never,
thinking about
never.
you, like and I love this because one of my mentors said
Yeah.
this. She's like, when you're stuck in your stuff,
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
journal on it and go, what makes you so special?
Yeah.
What makes you so special
All
that
right.
you're like, if you're worried about getting clients or you're worried about upping
Yeah.
your rates or whatever, what makes you
Hmm.
so special that people wouldn't want to pay you? Right?
Right.
Like, so
Hmm.
flipping
Yeah.
the script on that was like, I was
I
like,
love
wow,
that.
that was really
Yeah.
good. That was really
That
good.
is really good. I like that. Flip that script.
Flip that script. So, Cari, how can we find you and connect with you?
Best place is Instagram. I'm at the Self Care Bear. I am on Facebook as well at the Self Care Bear. They're interlinked or whatever you do there. I am actually getting my YouTube channel together. So also that's at the Self Care Bear Club. So Self Care Bear Club. You mentioned, you can hop on YouTube and do a little workout if you're wanting to stay at home. And that's my next venture. I'm gonna do some workout videos. Everything about me is like movement, mindset, and meditation. So just stay tuned for my YouTube channel. You can also find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any place where you listen to your podcast. And that's going to be at the Self Care Bear Club. I would love to have you there. It's just a big hug. It's a big hug of a time. So
I love that. Love that. And
yeah,
so reach out, connect with Cari on
yeah,
social media, on all the places. and stay tuned for her YouTube channel. Go keep checking her out there when she's launching. And we'll have all of her links inside of the show notes attached to this episode, so you can click on those and connect and get in her DM. Reach out to her and connect with her.
Yes, please
Get in her
do.
DM
I
and
would
chat
love
with her.
to. I would
Absolutely.
love that.
So who do you, if somebody wants to work with you, who do you work with,
Yeah.
and what does it look like to work with you? How do we connect with you in that way?
That's a great question. Again, you can probably just send me a DM. That's the best way. I do have a link in my bio on Instagram that there's some freebies there for you. You can check out my website, but just reach out to me because I want to make sure we're a good fit first. I just really, I want to help anybody. I know that's not the way to do it, but anybody who wants to be helped, I guess. But specifically, anybody who just really is lacking confidence, I guess, who's just a little bit scared, who has always had self-doubt, maybe don't know why, don't know how, but it's just really looking, to grow. Anybody who's looking to grow, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, it's all connected. And when you tune into the insides, like that's what I'm all about. So somebody who's looking not just to get like some abs, you know what I mean, but also clean out the inside and then realize that you might get all of it, you know?
Yeah, you will get all of it because she's going to help
you
get through what's going on out here, but it also
Yeah.
starts with what's going on in here, and she's going to help you with that as well, doing the inner work, because no matter if you're not doing the inner work, it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, you're never going to feel good about it, and you're never going to have that confidence that you deserve to have, because you deserve to have everything. And that includes confidence and self-love and whatever you want out here to be showing up, for you to be showing up as. So what did you mention? You have a website. What is your website?
I do. It is the Self-Care Bear Club.
Okay.
It is the Self-Care Bear Club. Yeah.
Perfect.
So basically you can find me anywhere, the Self-Care Bear Club or the Self-Care Bear. So I was born Cari, obviously, but Care Bear not too long after I was born was my nickname. And I really have just taken it to heart. I feel like I am a Care Bear, and so that's kind of where that name came from.
You are. I love that. It's like fun. It's so easy to remember, and it feels just really good and loving. Very safe community to be involved in. Yeah.
Very safe.
So thank you so much for being here today, Cari.
Thank you so much.
And sharing your story. It's been an amazing conversation. Before we go though, is there something that you'd like to share with us that we wouldn't know by checking you out on social, like a fun fact or something different? Because you're very open. You're very open.
I know.
Share everything. So I know this might be a hard question.
True. So something fun. I don't know if it's fun or if it's a little bit racy, or if it's on theme, and you might have already guessed it. But do you know how the Care Bears have like those little hearts on their booties?
Yeah.
Like the little red trademark symbol. Yes, I also have that, like officially. So I don't know if that's fun, but
that is fun.
That's my biggest secret. I have a little red heart tattooed on we'll call it my lower back.
I love that.
I'm a real life Care Bear.
So. You are a real life Care, like you've heard it here first, people, like ladies, like you've met a real life Care Bear today. This is so cool. I met a real life Care Bear. I'm so excited.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So no, that's super fun. And I guess, no, we wouldn't know that.
No, now everybody does.
Now everybody does. It's out there. It's out there. You heard it here first. And you've really embraced the Care Bear Club. So you are living it all the way to your core. So thank you so much again, Cari, for being here. I'm really grateful. What can we do to support you? So that's the last question. What can we do to support you?
I love that last question. Really just come check me out on Instagram. Come check me out on my podcast. I would love to support you. So, like I said, one-on-one is awesome. I really thrive in that nature, but also I just want to share the free stuff with you. So start with the podcast. See if my vibe is your vibe, and start. Instagram's great because I just do like little morning messages. So that's like been my commitment. Like you were talking about, every morning I just get up and you'll see the best of me, the worst of me. But it's just like a little morning pep talk. Sometimes we do affirmations, sometimes we breathe. But it's just a good place to start and see if, you're into it.
I love that. So check out the podcast. Go to Self-Care Bear Club. and
Yes.
check it out.
It's a
You'll love
mouthful.
it. You won't be disappointed. And I mean, you've met her here.
Yeah.
There's just so much more of Cari inside there. So
Mm.
make sure you go check out the podcast, follow her on social media,
Mm.
and look out for her YouTube announcement because it's going to be.
Yeah,
So
I
thank you
love
so
that.
much, Cari, for being here with me
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you for listening to this
Mhm.
episode and joining Cari and I today. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Be She podcast. In the meantime, be seen, be heard, and empowered. Sending you lots of love.